Hi guys, this is Jay here. I am back again with another video. This one is a planner video and it's going to be on my process for doing my elimination diet. I suffer from Gerd, which is gastroesophageal reflux disease, and I have been on a lot of medication for it over the years, which doesn't work sometimes. Sometimes it does. A lot of times it doesn't. And I've been dealing with it for about, 5 to 8 years maybe now. And I'm trying to find a way to fix it with my diet. I can tell you there is hope. Before, in the past, I was able to get off the Prilosec medication for about a year, and then I had to get back on it. So this is something I believe that can be fixed with diet and stress management. It's just those are two things I really struggle with. So I figured using a planner would help me. And this is just a basic lined, ruled, there's just a little planner here that I picked up that was given to me for free. So I didn't like the cover, and I'm not a fan of the yellowed pages and the lines on it. So I said, what could I use this for? And I was like, you know what? Food tracking. That's what I'm going to be doing. So let me just explain my layout here. And this page is the beginning of November because I just started tracking my food this month. And the elimination diet is pretty much you go through different phases. So I have phase 1, 2, 3, and 4 here out on the side. And you're supposed to, in phase 1, eliminate all dairy, gluten, soy, and eggs. And so each phase, like here we have day 1 is 1 through 21, and you eliminate all dairy, gluten, soy, and eggs. So at that point, you could technically start at the beginning of the month if that's easier for you, which I wanted to do, but I had not gone grocery shopping, and so I'm tracking it here with these light gray numbers, which I used to do with this Tombow N89 dual brush marker. And I started here, and so this is my day 1, which is the 3rd of November. And I just went day 1, 2, 3, and then I did 3 again because I slipped up on this day and ate something I shouldn't have. So I said, let me do day 3 here. So I slipped up again here, and instead of writing that number again, I just did an X or a cross through it and picked up again and did it again here. And you could see where I'm trying. And what I mean by slip up, like this week here, I was my first week of trying to do the elimination diet, and I went out and bought a lot of things that I felt fell into the categories of no egg, soy, gluten, and dairy, and that was really hard. But I also had things left over in my refrigerator that I didn't want to go to waste. So like butter that I used, of course, had, I guess it was like eggs in it, or had the dairy, so I still use that in cooking some of my products. And I believe I went out to eat this day, which I did pretty well going out to eat because I had grilled fish, green beans, and I believe it was the mashed potatoes that probably had milk in it, but they had gravy, so I'm pretty sure that I had that. And a friend of mine tempted me with a milkshake, so that was where my one bad thing happened. But the rest of that day I ate straight elimination. And I understand that pretty much doing a real elimination diet, when you slip up, you're supposed to start over again. So like this should be my day 1 again, because, or I guess here since I slipped up, that should be my day 1. But this month is kind of going to be my trial and error month, and I'm going to try to do it again next month, but a little bit better. And I think that's something we have to consider when we're starting these sort of elimination diets or antihistamine, AIP, whatever you're trying to do. You know, don't take it as like, oh my gosh, I failed this day. Let's just throw everything out the window and I'm a failure. So I'm going to keep trying at it. And I'm a picky eater. I'm also somebody that loves sweets. So I love pretty much all bread, gluten, things like that, and all sugar products. So this is very hard for me to do. And I'm not going to beat myself up on days that I mess up, but I do want to stress that if you're trying to truly follow an elimination diet, you know, you'll want to be more strict than what I'm doing. And I'm going to work my way up to it because I know myself. I can't just go cold turkey. Some people can do that and that's awesome, but I'm not one of those people. But so let me explain a little bit more here. So after you finish your first 21 days of being completely free of these products, your day 22 to 24, you can reintroduce the dairy. And when you do that, you'll start tracking your symptoms. And if there's no symptoms, then when you get to day 25 and you're still eating your dairy, then you can introduce the gluten. And you'll follow that same process from the 25th to the 27th. You'll reintroduce the gluten, track your symptoms. If there are none, then you'll go to day 30, reintroduce the soy. And then at day 33, you'll reintroduce the eggs. And you'll keep tracking your symptoms that way. So at this point, I have more data I've collected on myself, and I'll get to that. But you'll move on to phase 2, which is your day 36 to 58. Well, you'll remove peanuts, shellfish, and corn. And then you'll reintroduce those as you did up here. And then there's phase 3, which is day 68 to day 90. And you remove all tree nuts and fish. Then at day 91 to 93, you reintroduce your tree nuts. Day 94 to 96, you reintroduce the fish. And you track your symptoms each time. And if something's bothering you, you know that it's the culprit there. So, and then the last, this one I'm the most curious about is the preservatives. So your preservatives, all the sugars and sweeteners added in and the dyes, like any of that chemical process stuff going in there. I have a feeling this is the area I'm probably going to have issue with. I've been doing well, really, with this first 2 weeks. I've noticed an improvement because before I started this elimination diet, I have silent reflux, especially at night, and I would wake up at like clockwork at 3 a.m. coughing and choking on acid in my throat. And you can kind of tell my voice is raspy because my throat feels like I swallowed a bunch of acid. And it got so bad that I had to contact my doctor, and they put me on an anti-cough, which is something to control the muscle spasms in your throat, and a steroid for the inflammation in my lungs where the acid was getting into it. So I was on that, and that medication helped soothe, but I was still coughing mildly. But now that I literally started this diet right when I came off the medication a week ago. So the medication helped get me back into a place where I don't feel like I would have pulled my hair out. And I've not woken up at night from coughing at all with these eating this way. I do feel during the day a burn in my midsection, in my torso, and in my throat every now and then when I slip up here. And the other thing I noticed doing this is that on days when I do slip up, the issues I have are worse. And the other thing, since this is really hard to do, no dairy, gluten, soy, and eggs, really all you're left with eating is whole foods, like fresh bananas or fresh potatoes, you know, anything like that, because really there's not much added to it unless you're buying it in a can or a jar, and then you have to, or a box, and you have to look at what else they've added to preserve this or make it taste good. So that's why I'm thinking my issue, and I'm hoping it's not with the gluten, dairy, soy, or eggs. I'm hoping it's more with the preservatives, because when you're cutting all these out, you're basically cutting all the additives out as well. So explaining my calendar a little bit more, I tried to color code. So I put dairy as green, gluten is the G with the orange, the yellow is soy, and the pink is eggs. And so I did that across the board here to remind myself not to eat anything with that product in it. And then down here, I was hoping to get to my reintroduction of dairy here for those 3 days, and then the dairy gluten those next 3 days, and then the dairy gluten soy, and so on. And I just wrote a few reminders here to really help myself, you know, if you can, buy the organic product, meats with no antibiotics and hormones in it. Eat the simple ingredients. And for me in particular, I know citrus fruits cause flare-up, tomatoes, onions, pork definitely, anything with caffeine, and dried fruit, surprisingly. I'm not quite for sure. I guess the acid content is higher in dried fruit. I'm still curious about this here, and I'll probably get more into this into another video. But this is my overall monthly glance here. And so the next thing, of course, I did was decide to compile some recipes. I just scoured Google, Pinterest, YouTube for anyone that was trying to do an elimination diet and things that I thought I would like. So this first page is just my breakfast ideas and things that I found, recipes of things that I know I would like to eat. Like there's an avocado bowl, sweet potato bowl mash, breakfast oatmeal with fruit. So I interchanged some things from certain recipes. Finding the AIP, which is the the autoimmune protocol diet, that you can look there for some recipes that would fall into that category. Let's see. So more breakfast ideas here. More breakfast. I'm a breakfast eater. I love to feel satisfied in the morning. Next is the snacks. So I am definitely a snacker, and I just kind of went around and found things that I thought I would like to eat that I know do not have any of the products in it that I'm not supposed to eat. It's very hard to find pre-made snacks. Next would be my meal section. So I have I have about 7 different meals that I could try. I'm not for sure if they're very good, but I know right now for the past 2 weeks I've really been eating chopped sweet potatoes, chicken, and like a vegetable side to go with a green vegetable side. It's getting kind of boring after 2 weeks for me, but I'm full, so that's all that matters. I'll have more room for more meal ideas here. And of course, desserts. Like I said, I love sweets, so in order to keep me on this diet, I need to satisfy the sweet tooth. So one thing that I found was a recipe for avocado pudding, chocolate pudding, and that's been great. And the other one I've tried is the oat raisin balls. That's been awesome for me too, because I feel pretty full after snacking on this. And all it is old-fashioned oat, cinnamon, almond butter, honey, vanilla extract, and raisins. And so when you buy your almond butter, just make sure it really has nothing else in it but the almonds. So those are some ideas there. I've not tried any of these other ones, but I will get to them. So next is my symptom tracker, and I've got this on this page here. So I am really trying to track so 1 through 30 is my November month, and then I've got my mood, stress, elimination diet, Gerd symptoms. So here I'm trying to track if my mood and stress are related to my symptoms. So in theory, I would want my mood to be here at a level 10, like awesome. And I would want my stress down at a 1. and that would be awesome too. And my GERD symptoms I would also want down here at a 1. So I can see right here my mood was really low at the beginning of the month, and then it slowly went up to pretty well here, and then it started to go back down, and it's all over the place here. It's kind of in the middle, I'd say. I'm not happy, I'm not sad, I'm just here. I've got a lot of work I work on during the week and a lot of massive projects. I'm in grad school, so they're looming on me, and they're very far out, and I get anxiety when I have to think of these large projects that are in the far future, because I like to, as you can see, I like to plan everything, and I have another planner specifically for grad school, and that has really helped with the anxiety there, because I'm planning and researching everything on top of all my coursework that I take currently. So those are some stressors in my life, and I made the decision to leave a full-time job to finish grad school. So the weight on me personally is I need to finish grad school, or else I left my job for no reason. So that's always in the back of my head. But now I do still work, and I notice on days that I have the traditional work, I'll call it traditional work schedule, I tend to have more reflux. So that is a stressor on me. The environment there is probably not a healthy one for me to be in. So that creates more stress on my body, which causes more reflux. So like I said, here's the GERD. And even though you can tell my mood was very low here, my stress was very high, and my GERD was very high here. And they slowly started to come down. And like I said, I started really working on the elimination diet on the 2nd of the month. So right away we can see I start to get some relief here, and my stress is going down as well. So whether this is related to lowered stress or the elimination diet, I'm not quite for sure yet. It may be a combination of both. So, and as you can see, my stress is going up, and my GERD symptoms start to go up as the stress, and it's going down. So it's following the stress line pretty well. Now, I also can say I stress eat, and I eat unhealthy foods when I'm stressed. So it's all tied in a big bubble together. So I kind of created my daily list, like day 1 to what's going on each one of these days. What happened if there was a high stressor, or if I ate something that I shouldn't have eaten that day. So I'm trying to track to see eventually if I can find a correlation between the food, the stress, and the GERD. So that's this tracker here. And then the next, what I did, and this is a little out of order because I was really trying to plan everything out here. I made a reference list of certain diets that people kept trying to tell me to do. So I wanted to see if there was a comparison between a low FODMAP, a gluten-free diet, the induction reflux diet, and the elimination diet. So if you have GERD and IBS, the doctor is probably going to tell you to eat a low FODMAP diet, which it's an acronym that stands for certain sugar chains, I believe it is. So you'll have to go look that up because I don't want to butcher the name. But things that I can eat suggested per the diet are listed here. So they allow you to eat vegetables, fruit, grains, which it's still wheat-free and gluten-free, but you can eat buckwheat, millet, oatmeal, quinoa, corn and rice. And then on dairy, you can have butter, cheese, but it's specific types of cheese, eggs. Milk, again, is going to be almond hemp milk, so it's technically not cow milk. And then there's lactose-free yogurt or coconut yogurt. So that does incorporate the gluten-free aspect of a gluten-free diet if you're trying to avoid that. And then with so I just picked this up in a book that I will leave the link to in case anyone's interested in this. And she does, written by a medical doctor who works with a ton of GERD patients. So I thought it was worth checking into to see if this is something that I could eventually get to, because they even allow for like vinaigrette. Right now I can't tolerate anything with vinegar in it. It hurts my throat. And I'm trying to see if I remember. So pasta is with non-acid sauce, and they do allow for all whole grain cereals. So I feel like this is, again, bread is whole grain, rye, unprocessed. So it's definitely a whole foods concept here. So it's not gluten-free. And then with the elimination diet, you have to eliminate all of these items here, which is wheat, corn, soy, eggs, dairy, not all at the same time. And then the eventual, if you want to get deeper into it, is processed meats, which I have a hard time eating processed meat, specifically pork. Things with added sugar, beef processed, sulfites, MSG, citrus, and nightshade. So those are things that I feel most of these diets incorporate at some point. This one's definitely more lax than the others, and this is where I hope to be able to get to, and because you can enjoy more foods on this one. And I am curious, now that I've gone down the rabbit hole of the elimination diet, is looking into an antihistamine diet, and I think this may point me towards that direction. So the first week was here. What I did was I just created a weekly list of my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so I can keep track of what I'm eating. And I, again, just use this yellow number 055 Tombow marker to give it some color here. And I wrote what I had for breakfast, lunch. I forgot to do that on the dinner. And each time I ate something that I felt had a product in it that I shouldn't be eating, I colored it with a certain color that correlated to my calendar markers. So again, right now I can have peanut butter, but like I said, the peanut butter I have is more processed than the like organic, natural, whole food style. And I didn't want to toss it, so I just finished it off this week here. And the same with I went out to eat because I was hiking that day, and I did bring snacks with me, but you know, I'm gonna eat when I'm hungry. So I tried to eat as best I could. So I've got everything like you know, pretty whole food here, but of course it was wheat bread and the cheese and honey mustard. That, and then I did check the Lay's chips, and they were great for me. So they were very plain, but you know, they were what they were, and they met the guidelines. So this week I tried steak with sweet potato fries, the Alexia brand, which has pretty much nothing in it, and I feel I can eat that. Laura Bar has not much in it, but I've noticed with Laura Bar I tend to get the burning in my throat, which is dried fruit for me. So like I said earlier, I will be looking more into that correlation with one of these diets. So that was the first week. And now on to my last week. So this is this current week that we're in right now. And again, I did the breakfast, lunch, dinner, because this charting method works pretty well for me. And I wrote down all the things that I haven't gone back and color coded things, which I'm going to. What I did here, this was an obvious one. I ate a pumpkin bread pudding from a restaurant. So that definitely had gluten and eggs and probably milk in it. So that was not something I should have done. And what's interesting here, that night after I went to sleep, I woke up with my eyes watering and a sinus congestion problem. So I'm not for sure if that's related to eating this when I had been going pretty good for the week, and then all of a sudden I had a large amount of something I shouldn't have. But yeah, this is the elimination diet that I am currently working on for myself, and if you guys are interested in seeing more of this from me and how I'm going through with it, possibly with going into the antihistamine diet later on, once I go through this, let me know and I will do another video. I hope to have next month a little bit more structured for myself, and of course the pages in the journal in order. This was definitely something that I was planning as I went, so that was why it went out kind of out of order. But yeah, if you like this, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so I know to make more videos like this. And as always, stay positive and stay motivated. Bye.